Okay, so I started my walk coming out of the fourth floor space. And I started my walk on the bench. And my first thought was I noticed everything about how I was feeling. My teeth started to clench. I got nervous, like a pain in my stomach. I got tired, and I didn't want to be there. So I got up, and I started to just walk a little bit, but I didn't really have a direction. And so I turned back and I went down that hallway of lockers. That hidden hallway of lockers, or it's weird, and the lockers are all blue, so it just looks out weirdly into like a tunnel space, and there was cake on the ground. And I left, and then I looked, I stayed in there, and I felt isolated, and like I was looking at a tunnel into, like a mouse looking out into passing cars, passing people, passing obstacles. And then I went out of that space, and I wanted to take the escalator down, but I decided I was going to go and find an auditorium, an empty classroom. And I went to the fourth floor. I walked around the fourth floor. I didn't find one. I knew where there was one on the fifth floor. I went upstairs. I went to that one. It was full. I went to another one. It was also full. And I just started to try doors. I just tried any of them. And I went, and I found one, a new one, for, looks like mathematics of some type. And I went in, and it was completely white and sterile, very sterile in the colors. And I sat in the front seat at the front center, and I looked at the board, which was covered in math equations, and I stood up and stood behind the desk, and I looked at all of the seats. And it was so sterile and empty, and I noticed the only piece of color was a orange, bright orange, red orange on-off button on the projector that was in the corner, an old-fashioned projector. The only thing with color is something old, and everything that is new is sterile and clean. I've done this project before, but I'll do it better this time, I guess. And then I heard the elevator ding, because my plan was I'm going to ride the elevator, and when I get in there, I'll realize what stop I'm going to get off. And I heard it ding, and I ran out of the classroom into the elevator. I almost got hit by the door. The guy said, "Oh, that was awkward." It wasn't. And as I was in there, I decided that the fourth time that the door opened, I was going to get off. And it was on the 11th floor. And it was after it had gone 7th, 8th, 12th, and I said, well, these people must have thought it weird. I probably was going to the 11th floor, and then the 11th floor door opened, so I was meant to be. I got out. And I came out. I just came out of the elevators. And first thing I wanted to do was lie down on the ground, right under the sign, but I decided not to do that after consideration, even though that's what I wanted to do, but I decided not to for the sake of the space. And I tried the first door that I saw. I saw a locked door with a code, and I tried a code that I was familiar with, which is 2, 4, and then 3, and it opened. And I went in, and the first thing I saw was a series of doors and patterning on the floor that was like linear. And it looked like a Dr. Seuss hallway. Do you remember that book, The Places You'll Go? It looked like that. And I went down the hallway for an open door for anywhere, and I came into a door with a room with an open door. All the doors lights are off and turned off and closed and everything. And I went and I sat down, and it's like a lounge space. Like, look, there's like chairs, and there's the open door, and then there's mailboxes, and like a coffee space and a fridge. And an electrical room. Please leave door clear. So this is where I am. Yeah. And then my alarm went off, saying it had been 10 minutes. There you go.